Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise My Asexual Life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button down below. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live right now or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. If you know already, I am Sandra Bentley, author of Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Glorious Stories. This one in here, which is out on Amazon. I'm also the founder of asexualise.com and the founder of Asexualise Academy. Sorry if there's a bit of a lag on here. It's live on my desktop. I can't stream on mobile anymore, so it's the best I can do. So hopefully it'll be okay. So, after the video last night, you might have followed my stream over the last few days where I met this British guy at my friend's 50th birthday party, and I just really like him. And when I got to know him, there was loads of stuff I loved about his character, about how caring he was, how well he looked after me. I got on really well with him. We had lots of things in common, and then he said some stuff that wasn't true, which I spoke to him about and decided to give him a second chance. And one of the things I particularly didn't like was the fact he had lots of friends that were porn girls, basically. So, you know, where a guys sometimes look at porn pages and they like porn pages, which personally, as an asexual, sex repulsed person, that stuff is just disgusting to me personally. But, you know, and I mentioned that, you know, I don't want to change him. It's up to him what he does. But, you know, I don't feel comfortable about that. And obviously, pretty much, you know, I'm looking for, ideally an asexual guy or someone really not into sex. And he seems quite into sex. So that's quite worrying. But having actual friends, porn girl friends, you know, once he can meet in person, because he's a local, this is not like some film star he's just liked or some page he's just liked of random girls he doesn't know. This is girls that participate in cam, you know, like cam sex and pornography stuff all over their Facebook page, but they're like local people. So yeah, he's more chance of meeting them in real life, if you know what I mean. So I'm asexual, but he is heterosexual. And so yeah, after my live stream last night, he was really happy I did it, and he said that he was quite his basic of happiness, and that he thought I said some good stuff, and he deleted like the porn girls off his friends list. He said I'll delete anyone I don't know, because I think he realized after my stream last night that there's loads of people that friend you. They're not necessarily your friends, they just friend you because a lot of them want sex, which I get friended by loads of people on Facebook, but I choose who to be friends with. I don't accept anyone and everyone that just decides they want to be my friend, even if I know them. Some of the people I do know that friend me, like from different groups, but I don't have them as my Facebook main profile friends list if I don't want to. If there's some sort of like issue that I've got. So for example, there's a few people even in my groups, and if they don't really speak to me outside of the groups, then I don't really see the point in them being my friend a lot of the time, because it's like, well, you don't really speak to me in the group and unless they message me, you see. So yeah, if they message me and want to add me as a friend, that's good. But some people, they just add you as a friend and they don't bother speaking to you again. And so that's why a lot of people have clear outs of friends lists on Facebook, because if people are not very interactive with them, they normally just sort of clear a lot of them out. So you might have seen, I'm cleaning up my friends list, let me know if you want to stay on it. So, but he said that he was just going to keep his family, work colleagues, me. I said, well, yeah, obviously friends as well. That he's, you know, people who are good people. So he went from like 1,170 something, I think it was, all the way down to 296. He's got like 299 now. So, you know, so he's got rid of a lot of people. He said, I'll delete all the people that I don't know. So it seems like he didn't really know a lot of those people well, you know. It seems that way. But anyway, so I said, well, what about your YouTube? Because he was subscribed to loads of porn, so he got rid of that, but I don't know, because I haven't checked. And I said, what about all the women on your contacts, you know? So, you know, reflecting on it, I'm really, really glad that he decided to do that and got rid of these porn girls off his Facebook page. You know, I think it's not just good for me, but it's really good for him. I said to him that it's good you know, to have really people who really care about you on there, and good friends, and people that, you know, like you, rather than these people, random people you don't know. So you don't have to be friends with everyone. And another important thing is you don't have to be liked by everyone either. There seems to be this thing where people in life think they need to be liked by everyone, but you're not on this planet to be liked by everyone. You're here to be respectful and polite and kind. But if people, you know, are going to take advantage of you, then you don't need to be friends with those type of people. If people don't know you, you don't need to be friends with everyone. Not everyone's going to like you. If you're getting everyone to like you, then actually you're doing yourself a disfavor, because it's not healthy for you to be that way, because it's absolutely impossible for everyone to like everything and anything about you. And if you're trying to force it all the time, you're actually living a really unhealthy life. It's more healthy to have some people that don't like you, or, you know, in the world. Because if everyone likes you, they don't. They just like in the fake you, not the real you. So you're not really being liked by anyone anyway in the first place. Do you see what I mean? So anyway, he said I could do this video. He was happy for me to do the video, and said that he cleaned up his Facebook friends. But you see, I don't know what other social media is on. So he could be like, you know, connecting with other porn girls on loads of other social media. I don't know, because I don't know the guy, do I? So we've only met twice. I think he's got a really nice personality, from what I know, in terms of kindness and caringness to people. But, you know, really, I've been looking for an asexual guy since 2014, and at the moment I'm still single, so I'm still looking for an asexual guy. You know, I find the whole concept of being with a sexual person, like heterosexual person, again, really difficult to deal with in my mind. You know, like, on the surface it all sounds really good, possibly, but, you know, I don't know him. I don't know if he's even looking for a serious relationship, whereas I definitely am. You know, I know what I want in life, and I think it's really important to know what you want in life and where you want things to go and stuff. So I'm looking for, you know, for a guy in my life that's a serious, committed relationship, but without the sex. And I don't know if he could be like that, you know, because he's heterosexual, whereas I'm asexual. And it would really worry me, you know, that one, I don't really know him. So if I got to know him a lot better, I think probably that would calm down if I really, really knew him on lots of different levels. But, you know, I feel more comfortable around an asexual guy, to be honest, because you know, when you're with a heterosexual who's clearly sexually attracted to you, I feel a nervousness, if you know what I mean. But then I kind of feel a nervousness no matter what relationship I go into, because I haven't been in a relationship for years, not a real one. You know, I've dated, but that's about it. Apart from a 3-week relationship where the guy wants sex, and that was basically it since 2011. So yeah, so any guys who are like really into porn, all that type of thing, to be honest, are not really my type of guys, because it's like, how can you really trust a guy like that? Because, you know, he could be like looking at it whenever, and I don't know. I accept that about him if it's the way he is, but maybe you know, it's not really. I don't really want that type of guy for me. You know, I want a type of guy who I don't have to worry about. You know, I don't have to worry about him going off with anyone else. I don't have to worry about him having sex with anyone else. I don't have to worry about him watching porn. I don't have to worry about sex. You know, so it's really interesting today, because I went into my city centre and I spoke to one of my asexual friends who lives in my city. He's actually coming to my birthday pre-birthday meals special, you know, Chinese meal. And we were chatting away, and he's got an asexual girlfriend, and he was just telling me how beautiful their relationship is, that they never ever talk about sex, you know, and it's not interesting for them. You know, they don't need to. They've never talked about it. They talk about books and writing, and they write to each other all the time. They're like best friends. They love each other implicitly, and they're both asexual, you know. And she's a lot younger than him, like more than half his age, but he likes younger women, like I like younger guys. But they get on so well, because he says she's got an old soul, and I really appreciate that, because usually I attract guys with older souls, you know, especially if they're asexual. And, you know, to be honest, I just think that it's going to be so difficult to be with a heterosexual, because, you know, it's dealing with all that uncomfortability again, you know, the sex stuff, the porn stuff. You know, I loathe porn personally. I can't stand it. It just makes me sick. You know, using women as sex objects for a start, and even like the body, like you know what I'm like on this channel if you've watched me. I'm naked repulsed. I don't understand personally, I know loads of people disagree, but personally, I don't even understand why anyone wants to look at a female body naked, apart from I like looking at my own, but that's mine, you know? It's for my private viewing of myself, do you know what I mean? It's like, but that's kind of because I'm asexual, you know? And to think about possibly being with a heterosexual again, especially one that didn't tell me the truth in the first place exactly, which, you know, I'd have to spend a long time trying to trust that person. I find it really difficult, if I'm honest. Like, I've had time to reflect, but I really, really like the person. But I don't know if they could be trusted. Like, I don't know if, where presumably they'd be dancing with loads of women like they danced with me. Presumably they'd be with, you know, like, you know, I just don't know if I could trust a person like that because of the sexual stuff. You know, like, whatever I do, you know, in terms of, you know, with guys, I'm never going to have sex with them. Do you know what I mean? I think if a sexual person's with an asexual person, they've got far less to worry about in that respect. Because, you know, it's not like I'm ever going to go off with someone and have sex with them. I could go off and have an emotional affair. I mean, asexuals can still have an emotional affairs. It's not like they can't. But usually asexuals have to love on an emotional level in the first place rather than physical. And usually that would be for their partner, you know, if it's a good partner for them. So, so yeah, it's kind of difficult to even think about being with a heterosexual guy. In lots of ways, it makes sense to be with a heterosexual guy because I'm very sexual in behaviour, with the way I like to dance, and like most people think I really love sex who see me dancing sexily. You know, they think, God, she really wants sex. But it's just not true. I'm not. I don't equate that type of dancing to me wanting sex because there is nothing. I don't want sex ever. For me, there is nothing in my head that ever thinks I want sex just because I dance like that. I just like dancing like that because it feels good. And I like to shock people a bit, if I'm honest. I do have that sort of naughty streak where I like to shock people. I like people to be taken by surprise that I can do something they wouldn't expect me to do, you know, because I'm quite a sweet, innocent girl in lots of ways. Then if I do that, it's like, oh, I didn't expect that, you know? So I kind of like to do that, not for them, just because I just like dancing. I love dancing. That's the thing as well. I can dance on my own for hours as well. I don't have to have a guy dancing with me. Like, I've been clubbing plenty of times on my own where I don't have anyone dancing with me. I only have someone dancing with me really close and personal if I really want them to. I'm selective with that. And so far with the foreign guys, even who, you know, I'm superly aesthetically attracted to, I've only had like one Indian guy that I've been really intimately dancing with. But he wasn't interested in a relationship. I think he just come to the club for sex, to be honest with you. But because I was upfront in the beginning and said I'm not that type of girl, you know, if I'll just be your friend and dance for you, I'm not doing anything more. But obviously, you know, that was a dancing. I never saw him again. But it's different because this guy lives local, and when he's with me, he's acting like a couple with me. The guy I met at my friend's party, you know. But it's like when I said, well, people thought we were a couple, he's like shocked by it, seems shocked by that. And I think, why are you shocked by it? Because most people do not cuddle and hold hands with someone and be body close like that with someone unless they're usually in a relationship with them. Do you know what I mean? Um, that's not where you usually behave with your friends. Like, I don't behave with the rest of my friends like that. So maybe he does. I don't know because I don't know him, do I? So, you know, it's really difficult. I think the whole concept of asexual was sexual, you know, because I just don't want that worry again, you know. Like when I spoke to my friend today, to hear just him have a asexual relationship, it's just beautiful. It's what I want, you know, really, because I don't want to be worried about all that stuff. I don't want to be worried about a guy, whether he's, you know, coming on to the girl, or he's chatting another girl out, or he's sexy dancing with her and holding her hand and doing all the rest of the stuff he does with me. That just cringes me out. It's just like, I deserve better than that, you know? I deserve to be loved for who I am and to have a guy who's 100% faithful and doesn't need to look at all that, you know? There's sex stuff all over, you know? Hi, Lewis. Hi, Andy. Really nice to see you. Lovely to see you. You know, and so there's, you know, there's like sex stuff all over the internet, you know? And it's all over videos, you know, like music videos. Like, as an asexual person who loves dance music, yeah, I mean, lots of the dance music have got videos with women with barely any clothes on, you know what I mean? Like boobs hanging out and not much on their bottom part. And it's just like, when I play that music, usually the majority of the time it's in the background. Like I've got my screen doing website design and the music's just playing in the background. I'm not looking at the pictures. But that's the difference, isn't it, between asexual and sexual person. If it was a sexual person, they'd be stood there gawking, their tongue hanging out at all the sexual women in the video with barely anything on because they're attracted to like that porn image, which is really damaging actually, because porn is not how you have a serious, happy, loving, healthy, lasting relationship. Porn is just sexual voyeurism gratification that lasts in moments, or if you sustain it, keeps lasting. What, to get an erection or to get aroused? It's not going to keep you in a long, healthy, loving, happy relationship. People are brainwashed from a young age to believe sex is what keeps a relationship together. And look at all the divorce rate. It's just a load of rubbish. I agree, porn is horrible. Oh, thanks, Lewis. That's nice to have someone agree. Yeah, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Because I met a guy recently. He had like porn women he's connected to on Facebook, friends, porn stuff he watches on YouTube, you know, and it's just like, you know, people he's got in his face, in his friend, you know, in his phone. And like, he's really kind, caring towards me, but I mean, do I really want to possibly be in a relationship with that type of person who just does that? Because to me, it's just, personally, now I've reflected, I just think it's really disgusting. Like, you know, it's just horrible. I hate all that type of stuff. It makes me feel physically sick. Yeah, people are brainwashed about sex. Yeah, you know, no one's actually born heterosexual. Shocking news. No one's actually born heterosexual. Your sexuality isn't actually decided for you, just that society brainwashes you from birth to believing that heterosexuality is the only sexuality, and it's sex, 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 sex. I can understand sex for procreation, not that I'm interested in having a baby, and I haven't been since 15 years old and would never want to have sex for a baby in my life and don't even want a baby. But you know what I mean? It's just like, I can understand that practically because of, as my parents had that to have me. But I mean, I can't understand it on another level, because it's just like, I've had sex and it's just like, it doesn't do anything for me, and that doesn't make a relationship. Worst part is make women look like an object. Exactly, Lewis. I'm so glad you understand. That's what I don't like, you know, like this guy has had so many, I mean, to be fair to him, like I said in this video, I spoke on this live stream, he watched it last night and he just deleted immediately, while he was messaging me, loads of people off his Facebook friends. It seems like to me that all these women friended him and he just accepted them. And obviously once you accept one sex, you know, porn person friend, they get all their friends to request you, because really it's just to do with money. And so many people are so gullible in this world. Sex sells so much because people can't get enough of it, and the only reason sex sells is because of the physical reaction it gives people. That's it, you know. But you can get that physical reaction for many other things without having to watch porn, without even looking at that and going nowhere near it. But it seems to me people don't realize that people can get like turned on, aroused by other stuff. They don't actually need to have the sexual intercourse. You don't even need to. I personally get aroused without even looking at a naked body. I don't need to look at a naked body to get aroused. I am an asexual person. I don't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever, but I have high levels of arousal. But I can think about kissing. Just think about kissing. It doesn't have to involve anyone whatsoever. No one, diddly squat. I can just think about kissing, and the word kissing and the thought of kissing is arousing in my body. You know? It just is. And so I don't actually need any other person to make me feel aroused or do whatever I want. You know what I mean? And it's just such a fallacy that, you know, you can only get those type of feelings through sex. There's loads of, you know, like there's loads of types of things that can give you that dopamine hit and the chemicals. I mean, I personally get that from the physical act of kissing, but I get it from just thinking about kissing. I don't have to even think about anyone to get aroused by myself. Maybe that's a gift, I don't know, or maybe it's just because people don't try it. What you have to do is like think of your body, and you just have to think about how your body feels. Think of a thing that makes you feel like excited, like I get excited over kissing. You put the two together and you get high arousal. You don't have to have videos and images to do that, but I guess maybe some people do. But I just think it's hideous. I just don't like it. And so, I don't know if that guy could ever be for me in that way, because it's like, my life's completely different to his. But not in the sense of what we like. We like a lot of things like the same, like theme parks, dancing. He's a really good dancer, like chatting, hanging out. It's just the same. He's not asexual, to be perfectly honest with you, because I see a lot of good qualities in him. But he is who he is, obviously, not asexual. But I just don't want that worry. I don't want that worry that, okay, maybe he's great. I'm really, don't get me wrong, I'm so happy he's removed those people off his friends list. I'm really happy about that. I think that's really nice he did that, because it's better for him, not just for me, because he doesn't need those type of women on his Facebook. They're only using him for sex. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, these porn people, not only are the people looking at the porn people thinking, oh, I'm looking at you, but the porn people are using all the guys that look at them. They're using them to get money for what they do. They're using them because it's like, anyone could do that. I could strip off and show my boobs. It's not difficult, isn't it? Just charge like what is it, £100 an hour, whatever it is. It's not difficult, is it? Any woman can do it. But it's just like some women don't care about doing it, others do. And it's like, well, guys will pay for it. It's like, what? Do you know what I mean? It's like, sex sells, unfortunately, and people are like, gullible enough to go and look at it, I guess. And they would argue that they like looking at the body like that. But like you said, Lewis, does make women look like a sex object. And a lot of the time it's really unhealthy, because a lot of, like, to have a long-lasting, loving, sustainable, fulfilling relationship, it's not what they just do on those porn, whatever they do. I don't even really know what they do, because I don't watch it. I hate that type of thing. It's not it's not the porn stuff. That doesn't make a loving, long-lasting, healthy, happy relationship. That's just some gratuitous voyeurism to get your dick off, basically, and get excited over. Do you know what I mean? It's like, ugh, it's just like, oh, it's just disgusting to me. And and I just really wished I had an asexual guy, someone I didn't have to worry about, because I don't want to get physically close to a heterosexual guy, being worried in case he's going to change the situation around to like, oh, I want sex with you now, or to being with me and then going off and having sex with other women. Do you know what I mean? Or, like doing other stuff with them. I don't want that worry. I don't want that hassle. I don't want that pressure. I don't want that anxiety, because I just want a stress-free life. I want to have a beautiful, well, I like foreign guys. Some women have body image issues as it is. Yeah, exactly. But it's totally, you see, porn doesn't promote loving, healthy relationships. Porn just promotes, here I am with all my tits and vaginas stuck out, and that's all it promotes. And how women or men get off on that. I presume women look at women. Do you know what I mean? And I just think it is disgusting. And you're absolutely right, Heather. Some women do have body issues because they don't look like that. But it doesn't matter how big or small you are. You can dress up. I know there are some women on the internet who are really, really big with loads of fat. They like that, to stay like that, because guys like looking at them in a G-string with nothing on their top half, their boobs, and they like fat. They look looking at really, I'm not talking about just a little bit of fat or large people, I'm talking about humongous amounts on purpose. They keep eating food, because some guys, there was a program on TV about it, that's how I know a bit about that, because it was this mother and daughter doing it. And I looked and I'm like, oh my God. And she was wearing the mother was wearing like a G-string with rolls of fat all over her, like purposely eating tons and tons of food, so she'd be really fat and have nothing on top. I think she had like a little bra on or something, and then she was teaching her daughter, a teenage daughter, to do that for like I think this was like a YouTube show or something they were doing. And it's just like, or was it a special forum where they did these sex videos, sexy videos, and so people would want to see that, so it's like a career for them. well, I suppose if you like doing that type of thing, good for them, and all more power to them for doing it and having the bottle to do that if they want to do that. But it's just like, that's not how you have a loving, happy, long-lasting, sustainable, fulfilling relationship with anyone. None of this porn stuff is. This porn is just, voyeurism. Voyeurism is looking at something in a sexual way and getting pleasure out of it. That's what voyeurism means. I like that in media studies, because a lot of films are voyeuristic, which means they are looking, when you look through the eyes of the person watching the film, it's purposely done in the way that is looking sexually into the world, which is why there's so much sex. It's poison for the brain. Lewis, I couldn't agree with you more. It's poison for the brain. I do particularly get that. That's why I don't know if I could actually be in a long-term committed relationship with a heterosexual, because would he really be committed to me? Probably not. And it's like, that's what you say. Like, when you say it's poison for the brain, it's like, can I let myself actually be attached to that person who's being poisoned? Because in a way, they're passing their poison on to me, if you know what I mean. So that's exactly really why I think it's difficult, because poison spreads, doesn't it? Like a fire. And it's like, if the person you're with is looking at all that type of stuff, then it kind of reflects on you, I think. Well, I feel it reflects on you. And it doesn't, in the sense that they're their own person. They can do what they want. It's not nothing to do with you. Just because they're doing that, it's no reflection on you in that sense. But it kind of feels like, for example, I'll give you an idea of what it feels like. So I don't smoke, as you know. I absolutely hate smoking. I hate drugs. I'm not into that at all. But if I was with someone, theoretically, who did drugs, even though I didn't do them, when I kissed them, I'd feel that they were passing their drug stuff through their body, through mine. And that is actually what happened with smoking cigarettes. Like, I dated, Lewis, I don't think you know, but I dated this heterosexual guy I had a date with him at a pub last year. A foreign guy. He was good looking, not as good looking as I usually go for, but because he was a bit older. But he was good looking, and we were talking about business and stuff, and he said, can I kiss you? And he was kissing me like over a period of like 4 hours off and on, which I did really enjoy. But he was a smoker, and I didn't realise he was a smoker, because I met him when I went out with my friend, and I saw him in the pub, and then we arranged a date. But when he wasn't smoke, I didn't see him smoke then. And then part way through at the beginning, he got cigarettes, and I was thinking, oh, just be different, Sandra, like, I've never been with a smoker in my life. I don't like smoking, can't stand it. But I thought, if he wants to smoke, that's up to him. Well, nothing to do with you. Just don't worry about it. That's the first time I thought, just let it go. And I was kissing him, and I didn't have any adverse reaction. And I thought, this is fine. Everything's going well. And we were kissing for a long time, but I knew I couldn't be with him in a relationship, because he needed to go back to his country within 6 months. And then when I said about showing me to his sister, he was like, oh no, because his sister lives in this city. I said, oh, great, you can introduce us. And he goes, oh no, you'd have to act like you didn't know me, because my mum wants me to marry someone from my country. So I just knew it was a load of rubbish, you see. And because what happens when I got back from kissing him, like, and being out with him for over 4 hours, we were doing that for the majority of the time, I then nearly threw up in the sink when I got home, and I started coughing. And I was so ill because I had like nicotine poisoning, because his tongue was in my mouth, because I love tongue kissing. And it was just gross. I could taste it in my mouth. I tasted like I got cigarettes in my own mouth, even though I never smoked. And he smoked outside. He didn't smoke in front of me. He was respectful like that. He couldn't smoke in there anyway. But just from the amount of kissing we did, and I could taste it in my mouth, and I nearly threw up in the sink, and I was coughing. My chest was really bad, and 7 weeks my whole chest infection took to go away. 7 weeks. And so I can't be with a smoker. So I need anyone who I ask to be, are you a smoker, to tell me the damn truth. Not, because it's for my own health. I can't be with a smoker, end of story. However much I like them. So it's like that principle. Like you say, like, porn is poison for the brain. That's how I feel as well. It's like poison for your system. Like, if you're having someone who's with you who does that type of thing, it's kind of like they're passing their poison onto you, if you know what I mean. That's how I used to think of it. Like, yesterday I was all like, like, I'll give this person a second chance, which I think is only fair. And I did talk to them about it, and they did remove it. I was so happy, but I'm thinking, like, why should I even have to worry about stuff like that? Why should I even have to be or think about being with a guy who's doing that type of thing? that's clearly, in my mind, wrong. I know he's heterosexual, but I have some heterosexual friends and they don't even go around doing that, because not every heterosexual is the same. Not every heterosexual has to be looking at porn. But then, you know, like I wish things would work well for both. Yeah, it's really difficult, I think. You know, I really like the guy actually a lot. But, you know, I really like him a lot. I get on really well with him and I do feel quite comfortable around him. He's really good at looking after me but you know, I don't know if he's just like it with every other woman, girl, like he is with me at the moment, you know, whereas I'm not doing that. But, you know, I'm still single, he's still single, so guess we both do what we want. But you know what I mean? I don't know if I could trust a person like that, because it's like, you know what I mean? I don't want to have that worry. If I could, you know, if you have a guy like that, but he has got a lot of really, really lovely qualities that I haven't seen in many people, to be honest. Like the taking care of me aspect is really amazing. Really, really, really amazing. Like I've never, you know, I don't usually get that well looked after by a guy. So that's really nice in practical terms. But it's like, I don't want to be dealing with someone who's doing that or could do that. You know, I don't know what other stuff he's got. You know, he could be on WhatsApp and have tons of girls on WhatsApp. He could be on God knows how many apps, you know, and have it all over there. Just because I can see Facebook, he delete off there doesn't mean to say he's doing off all the rest of them, because I don't know him, do I? And I don't, you know, and it is up to him at the end of the day. And if he's that type of person that does that, then, you know, I need to keep looking, don't I, for an asexual guy, really. It's hard because my heartstrings like pulling towards him because he's local. I get on really well with him. He's really fun to be around. We have loads in common. We just like I naturally do want to be close to him, like hug him, cuddle him, and hold his hand, which I don't usually get with British guys. I usually just get out with foreign guys. So that's really unusual for me. And I really do like to be close to him in that way, which I don't normally get. I like his age as well, like his star sign. I like the fact we get on so well. So that kind of like overrides the stuff that he's been interested in. But like he's only just met me. You know, he might just change naturally on quite a bit of stuff because he might realise there's a different life. It doesn't have to be full of sex stuff all the time. But you know, it's like it's just too much to worry about in that way, you know? I just think, you know, I'd be better with an asexual guy who but you know, who's like me, because that's really difficult to find, you know, because a lot of asexual guys, they still want marriage, which I don't. The guys I like are not even in this country, they're abroad, you know, usually. And they're not really into kissing like I am. They're not. I'm into dancing. Like he dances like I dance. Like we're both really in sync with dancing. We're both like perfect couple together in dancing terms. And he likes going to theme parks than I do, so I look for that quality. I look for really different qualities to what a lot of guys look for, or girls look for, or people look for in a relationship. I look for like really different stuff. Like I like his hair. Like I usually like brown hair on a foreign guy, but he's got short spiky blonde hair, but I really like short spiky hair. It's one of my hair attractions. The clothes he wears are quite nice. They're young as well. Dancing really is amazing. I get really attracted to the fact that he dances pretty much exactly the same as I do. So that's really, really good. He's really fun to be around. He's different to other guys in some ways. He knows how to take care of a girl, you know, like with food and needs like that, because I have special dietary requirements and I do get ill if I don't eat regularly. He's really good at taking care of me like that. And, you know, I think he's really got a heart, really good heart, really. But obviously he's very friendly to all people. And, you know, friendly's good, but there is a limit. Otherwise, it's just like, well, you're being friendly to absolutely everyone. So basically, you're holding every woman's hand, you're cuddling every woman, you want to kiss every woman, you're dirty dancing with every woman. It's like, well, yeah, okay. When do you actually say no to a person? Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I want a guy who really knows what he wants and is firm. I like a guy who treats women really well. He's respectful and kind and open and honest, and he knows polite to people, but knows how to tell a woman to get stuffed if she comes onto him. which obviously if it's an asexual guy, they can do that, because I have asexual guy friends. I know if a woman tried to come onto them to have sex, they'd be like, what the heck are you doing? You know, like, especially if they're in a relationship, they'd be like, I'm in a relationship, you know? Like, my other half was not going to like that. I'm with someone, you know, and they'd be like, what are you doing? They back off and they go away, or they just walk off and wouldn't even say anything, you know, or get the heck out of there. They probably wouldn't even be in that situation in the first place. My asexual friends are not necessarily in that situation, but one of my best friends, he said to me that he had a boyfriend, because he's panromantic, but he likes guys more than women, but he's had both girlfriends and boyfriends. And he said he was in a nightclub with his boyfriend once, and his boyfriend was in the loo, and this other guy come chatting him up. Oh, was it guy or girl? I don't know. There was a person come chatting him up, and he said, oh, my boyfriend's not going to like that. You know, and then the person went off, because he said he would never do that. He would never cheat on, you know, like cheat with someone, even though he's asexual. You know, he wouldn't cheat, because you can still cheat. You know, like, just because you don't have sex, you can actually still cheat with like other stuff. But you know, you don't cheat in the essence of the word that most people are used to. You're not going to have sex with someone. And like asexuals don't have that to worry about. If it's heterosexuals with an asexual person, in that way they've got it made, because they're like, well, my partner's never going to cheat on me. You know what I mean? They're never going to go off, if they're a genuine asexual. Obviously, if they're lying, they might. But you know, it's like, well, my partner's never going to do that to me, so I've got the upper hand in that way, if you know what I mean. But you know, I was really pleased that he did what he did. I'm really happy. Don't get me wrong. I think it's amazing he did it just like that, straight away after the video. But you have to monitor these people over a long period of time. You know, like, are they going to continue doing good things like that? Are they going to continue being a good person? Are they going to, you know, what they really like? I mean, I've only met him twice, so I don't know, do I? I don't know what he's like. But, you know, like, you're going to be more worried with a heterosexual person. Whereas with an asexual person, you have none of that nonsense to worry about. You know, like I said, when I saw my friend today, he was talking about his girlfriend, and he was saying about how much she loves to write, and they're messaging all the time, and she's messaging what she writes, and they're having deep conversations, and they like older types of stuff. I think it's like, you know, she's got an old soul, he's got a young soul, and there's nothing to do with sex, you know, so there's no, and it's pure love. That's what I think about asexual love as well. If I'm absolutely honest, I think it's the most purest love you can get in the world. Two asexuals together, you know, like, asexual love is, you know, like, because sex is not involved. Porn isn't, well, maybe porn is involved for some asexuals. Some asexuals do like looking at porn. I can't deny they don't. That's why I sometimes think, well, what's the difference between me being with an asexual guy and a sexual guy? Because they both look at porn anyway. Because like the guys that I tend to attract, the asexual guys, they're on the more sexual end of the spectrum usually. The ones that are interested in a relationship with me, and some of them look at porn, and I'm like, well, to me, what's the difference? I may as well be with a sexual person than act like. Do you know what I mean? But I guess the difference is, with an asexual person, they're not going to act on it, whereas with a sexual person, they're highly probably going to at some point, or want to do that, because they keep seeing that and they keep craving it. They're going to want it, aren't they, in real life eventually? So, or more, you know what I mean? Because they obviously need that. It's a big deal for them. So, you know what I mean? It's just like, I really need an asexual guy, you know, someone who loves me without sex, someone who values my personality as well as my looks, someone who likes my face and my hair more than my body. It's nice that a person likes my body, don't get me wrong, because obviously it makes me feel good about my body then. But, you know, it's like, what about my personality? What about my hair? What about my smile? What about my eyes? You know? Do you know what I mean? What about being pretty? What about being cute? And I like those things that asexual guys are more likely to say to me, you know, like, oh, you're cute, you're pretty, rather than I love your body. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, thank you, you know, or you're really intelligent, and, you know, you're doing really great in your work, and, you know, you're really sweet. And I like he calls me sweet, which is nice. He called me gorgeous, which I did actually love. Thank you for the thumbs up. You know, which I did really love as well. So, you know, but I do see a beautiful heart in him. Don't get me wrong. I do actually see through all this porn stuff to see a beautiful heart and a beautiful person. And when I'm with him, I feel like I touch his heart, he touches mine. So I do feel that type of thing with him. But I get very nervous, I think, around him, in part because I think a little bit, because he is heterosexual. Do you know what I mean? And that does worry me. It's like, I really like you a lot, probably too much, and you're heterosexual. Again, why? Do you know what I mean? And it's sad because heterosexuals tend to give me a lot more of my needs, but he fulfills a lot of the needs in the terms of what I'm looking for, like in things to go out and do. But I don't, even if he knows that, you know, like if I was in a relationship with him, for example, that he would be a proper relationship without sex. Just because I don't have sex with him doesn't mean to say it's not a proper relationship. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if he'd get that. Because obviously society brainwashes people into thinking that you can only be in a proper relationship if you're having sex, which is, as we know, as asexuals, is just rubbish. You know, asexual to asexual relationships are the best. But, you know, I haven't found the right asexual guy for me. I've been searching for a long time. And it's important to have someone that has interests like I do, you know, so I can go out with them and do things with them and not stay indoors. And I like someone who's like wants a teenager relationship like me 24/7. And this guy's kind of like probably going to be like a permanent teenager type guy. But then, you know, you have to ask yourself, is what you really think you want in life what you actually do want and is good for you, you know? So I'm here saying I want a teenager life, teenager relationship for life. But it'll be interesting to see that, do I really want that? You know, like if I'm with a young guy and it's permanent like that, is that going to be good? Is it going to give me everything you'll need? Or is there going to be a certain point where I think, well, actually, are they really taking this relationship seriously? Do they really value me as a person? Are they really going to be like growing themselves and developing themselves? Or are they just going to stay in the teenager state all the time? Because I'm a teenager, but a teenager who likes to grow and develop themselves all the time, you know, like to become a better person. I do think it's a really big step for him doing that, deleting all those people straight away, especially when he's only just met me. You know, he's obviously listened to what I said, responded to what I said, taken notice, done that for his own good as well as mine. And I do think that's a very mature thing to do. But like I say on this channel, whenever you like someone, particularly who's not asexual, you have to monitor their behavior a long period of time, not just like saying something, but, you know, doing something. But do they do things consistently? Like, he's deleted all those people, but are those people going to come, more people going to come back, you know? Is there going to be other people that he replaces those with? Or is he just going to actually stick to what he says? You know, like, is there going to be more porn people pop out? I mean, where else has he got all that stuff? But I don't, you know, if I'm with an asexual guy, I don't need to worry about all that. It's just like, do what you want. I don't care. I'm with an asexual guy. What do I need to worry about that for? You know, but if you're considering being with a heterosexual, I think as an asexual person, that's one of the hardest things in the world. Because it's like, how can you ever trust them? How can you ever trust a person not to go off with someone else when they're sexual? You really can't. I don't see how you can. I don't feel I'd ever totally 100% trust a sexual guy, in which case I really need to be with an asexual guy because I need to totally trust them. Because if you don't totally trust them, you'll always be worried all the time, anxious, nervous, and thinking, what the heck are they up to? Even though you don't want to be like that. So I think it's really difficult. And considering the majority of the population are still heterosexuals, it does mean that asexuals are likely to end up being in a relationship with with a heterosexual, sadly. I think that's really, really bad that there's not that many asexuals in the world. I really, really wish that there was more asexuals for us that could give us the love, care, attention that we deserve and need without obviously all that sex rubbish, you know, the porn, the stripping off of clothes, the body parts showing, you know, which doesn't even make a proper relationship, you know. That is the relationship. You know, people are married, right? Some are married. Apparently, I think it's 20% of married couples don't actually have sex for sustained long periods of time. You know, they're married and they stop having sex and they're still together. So they're still loving each other without sex. Do you know what I mean? So in that way, asexual could be with a sexual. But you know, so because couples that were together for a long time, they need to think that, you know, they might, when they get older, which is different to asexuality. Asexuality is not a choice, but, you know, like when they're older, they might just decide they don't want it anymore. And they can't do that. Or, you know, they feel too old, they got bits falling off or whatever. They can't do that, you know? So there are people that are married that are not having sex. And some of these people are together forever. You know what I mean? And so It's not the sex or the porn, all that stuff. I mean, the porn's very damaging because, do you know what I mean? Like, just teaching someone to do all that stuff. It's not teaching all the sensuality of relationships. It's not teaching them to be connect with that person on a mind level. You know, the best types of relationships are the ones that connect in the mind. So it doesn't matter what happens to the body. Like, you know, lots of people as they get older, they can become disabled. They can have physical problems down below that make it difficult to have sex or can't have sex at all. You know, illness, sickness, injury. And, you know, if the person's there busy looking at porn and they need to have sex, then that means they're going to get it elsewhere with their partner's disabled or physically can't do that anymore, or they just don't want it anymore. I think that's really sad. And but if they love the mind and their heart way, way, way above the body, and they really, you know, see the body is just like can or can't do, they don't really need it. They're not interested in porn. They don't need all that sexual stimulation constantly. Then, you know, they're going to have a really much more healthy, happy relationship because you have to connect in the mind. You have to be sort of heart condition. Yes, Heather, some people can have a heart condition and don't have sex, but actually I think people who have heart conditions probably would still have sex. It's more likely if they're, like, for example, if the guy's bit isn't working or the woman's private part is hurting. Do you know what I mean? That type of thing. So, you know what I mean? But there's lots of people that get into that situation, and I wish society would cater more for them because, you know, so many people are actually disabled in this world and physically can't have sex, and no one thinks about them, you know. And what about all the impotent people, the ones that can't physically get it up? You know, like what happens to them? I meet some people trying to get into my asexual groups that aren't asexual, but they're impotent. They don't know where else to go. That's a really difficult call. Sometimes I don't let them in. Sometimes if they kind of persuade me they're asexual because they're not interested in sexual activities anymore because they're impotent and they just not bothered about it anymore, then they kind of still fit into asexuality in that way because it's the lack of sexual attraction and or little to no interest in sexual activities if they just like not bothered. But you know, it's a difficult one because, you know, if they're impotent, and a lot of the time they're not that bothered about doing it because they can't do it, and they're like, what, you know, what's the point in worrying about it anymore? But it's you know, there's so much stuff, and just like flashing porn up, I mean, that's not a relationship. That's just like gratuitous, like vision of, you know, images, isn't it? Really, and so I just find it very damaging. I find it very damaging that kids are brought up on this. You know, I mean, Twitter, for example. You know how many kids use social media these days? We're talking like school age, you know, and Twitter is so bad for porn stuff. It is absolutely full of porn stuff all the time. I get it in my feed because loads of people follow me because they think I'm sexual, not asexual. They think asexual means I'm a sexual person. I get loads of women after me constantly trying to like follow me on Twitter. I'm like, for God's sake, I'm not sexual, and if I was, I wouldn't be a lesbian anyway. You know what I mean? I even got one of them trying to get on because I've got my Skype for it's my personal business Skype's the same one. And this woman came over from Twitter, started a chat with me, and wanted to have video sex with me. I'm like, excuse me? One, I'm not attracted to women. I'm 100% not a lesbian. I'm only attracted to guys. And two is I wouldn't have phone sex even if you paid me to have it. You know, you gave me the money to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not interested in that type of stuff. Why would I be interested in that? Do you know what I mean? But there's so many women on Twitter. They do the cam sex. I guess they get paid for it. They give a link. They go over, and I presume you go over to their site and, do you know what I mean? And pay for whatever, seeing whatever. I mean, people make big money out of it. I saw something the other day when I was doing research, and there's like one woman makes £1,000 a day out of it, like doing video sex. Exactly, Heather. It's really gross. But she's making like £7,000 a week out of showing her private bits to blokes. And even her partner got involved in it. So they're both doing stuff like that, and it's like £1,000 a day, £7 a week. A week, I can see why she does it from the money point of view. But like, you know, laughing all the way to the bank. Like, if these guys want to pay me for a 50 quid, 100 quid for an hour with that, I don't have to do much but be at home and flash my bits. You know, I personally don't want to do that. Wouldn't like doing that. But you know, and then they pay me this money, and I get about £1,000 a day, £7,000 a week. 14, what is it, 21, 27 grand, 28 grand a month, isn't it? Yeah, 14, I can't add up, 21, 20, yeah, 28 grand a month doing that woman's making just from doing that. She'll be a millionaire soon, won't she? Do you know what I mean? If she keeps it up. If guys are gullible enough to pay for that, then you kind of think, well, more power to her, really. But I just think it's not good, like the amount of people that are married that cheat, that are in relationships that cheat. I mean, I've seen all that side, the heterosexual side of it. I've got friends who are heterosexual I even know have been involved in affairs. The women I'm talking about. Don't think it's just guys all the time. But guys should be able to say no. Do you know what I mean? Like no, it's not difficult. No, no, no. They should practice saying no. I'm not interested. But really, they are. That's the problem, isn't it? But you see what I mean? So a lot of women that make out they're really good people, which they are with the rest of their lives, are not good with guys because they still partake in stuff to do, sex with guys who are married or in relationships, for example. I've known friends like this. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, with me, you're great, and you're like some of the best women I've known in the world with your kind, caring hearts, but yeah, you're like that. And to me, it's just totally immoral. It's like, how can you do that to the person? How can you be with that person knowing that they're cheating on their partner? And how can the person do that with you, knowing they're cheating on their partner? What is the point in being in a relationship? They may as well just stay single and enjoy the single life forever and just shag loads of people, excuse my language, if that's what they want to do, but make it clear, like put it on their forehead, I'm a shagger, I'm not interested in a real relationship, because that's basically all what it's about, isn't it? It's like what you can get your leg over. It's not about a long-lasting, loving, healthy, committed relationship where you chat. I've heard women pay their body for sex to get rent for apartment. It's true. It's true. Yes, Heather. Women pay their body to get sex to get rent for their apartment. I mean, the thing is, Heather, is I do understand that some women are single mothers and they feel they have to sell their body to get money to pay for their rent. But I kind of feel that, I understand them in that way. I don't agree with they should have to do that, but I think it's sad they have to do that. But there was a show on TV about it, about women having to do that because they can't afford the rent. And to be honest, in the UK, if I'm being absolutely honest, the benefits don't pay enough for the benefits that you get if you get help over here in the UK. If you're out of work, the benefits don't cover all your rent or your food and like your living costs, like any bills like phone and that, they don't cover it. So if, say, for example, a woman had no savings, she had just benefits to live on, she couldn't eat like that. So then I understand why she would sell her body for money, have sex for money, to make ends meet, to keep a roof over her head, food in her belly, and stay alive. It's like survival of the fittest, isn't it? Some women have to block out what the men are doing to them because they have no choice, in the sense that, they do. Everyone has a choice. I mean, they could go and be a cleaner or something like that, but it's not always that easy, is it? You know what I'm saying? To get a full-time wage to support you, and especially if like some women have got children who do that as well, so feel they need to support the kid. But yeah, some women do that to pay the rent, because at the end of the day, any woman who has to do that to live, to survive, to keep themselves fed, I get it, and I respect them for doing that, even though I don't personally think it's nice to do that. I think it's sad they have to do that, but I do get them. I do understand why they would do that if they needed it for their apartment, and in a way, then you could argue that the guys who want that are giving them money for their apartment to keep them alive, so you could rationalize it out, I guess, but at least they've got that income coming in that helps them pay for their apartment and pay to live. So I suppose there is one benefit of being a prostitute. We've gone from porn to prostitution because this is a different thing. But yeah, so I think it's sad that women have to do that, but I know there's some that do that. And to be honest, I think any woman, if she was down to the last resort, probably would do that in the majority of cases if they found that's the only resort they had, because you know what I mean? You live or die with like most people, like, I don't know how they live homeless, especially in the UK, when it's so freezing. It's like freeze to death or have sex and get some money to eat. You know what I mean? You'd probably, like most people would in the end have sex to get some money to eat to keep themselves alive, rather than be out on the streets in the freezing cold, potentially about to die of hypothermia. Do you see what I mean? So when you're put in life or death situations, you have to make choices and decisions in life that you may not necessarily want to do, but you do because you're put in that position. And that can happen to anyone, to be quite honest. I've thought about this, in my head. I've thought about, like the women who do that. And I understand, I have great respect for those women, because I do, like when you are in a completely different life, like say you've gone from a really, good job, all of a sudden you're made redundant, you're out of work, and you've got no savings, and it's a case you're going to be kicked out of your apartment, and you'll have nowhere to live, you won't have any money for food. What are you going to do? You're going to do whatever you can, aren't you, to survive, even if that's having sex and someone paying you for it, which I completely get, and I respect them for doing that, and I don't tell them not to do it. I think you got to do whatever you can to live at the end of the day, even if it means that, because I think life is so much more important than death, and that you only, that you have to do whatever it takes to stay alive in this world, and sometimes you might have to do some stuff you don't want to do for a while in order to have a better life later on. So yeah, that's my opinion, even though I personally don't like sex. When you've talked about, paid their body for sex to get rent for apartment, I totally really respect those women for doing that, and I think if any guy's single and they really want to do stuff like that, then, porn stuff and sex stuff, then I guess I can understand it more. But I just think any person who's like in a relationship or thinking about being in a relationship or wants to get into a serious relationship shouldn't have any interest in looking at that type of thing, because they'd have a partner, and it's like, what's the point? Because that doesn't actually make you have a loving, happy, loving, healthy relationship. And like porn is a choice to watch that, when a woman's got a choice between life or death, and it's like have sex to live, then usually most women are going to have sex to live, even if they don't want to do that. I mentioned on this channel recently, there's an asexual, at least one asexual, who runs an asexual group on Facebook, and she's actually a prostitute for a job. That's what she does. I don't know why she does it. She's been doing it for years, as far as I know. And it is, and she said, you have to respect people who are different to you. Which I do respect people who are different, But it's like, again, that's like paying for sex, isn't it? Like, I can understand some guys who, I guess, really, really want to do that, who are single, to do that. But, like porn, I guess some guys, if they're single, maybe will do that type of thing. But it's just like, you know what I mean? I can't take a guy seriously about a relationship when they've got all that type of stuff, because it's very like, how can I put it? It's very like, it's not an intelligent thing to do in terms of relationships, like look at loads of porn. It's not gonna help you to get a loving, long-lasting, healthy relationship. If any woman sees that usually on a guy's page, it's going to make her run a mile. And you know what I mean, she's not really going to be happy unless she does that type of thing herself, I don't think. It's quite surprising, because some of the women he had as friends on there, which were porn women, they had partners and were in relationships. Obviously their partner didn't mind them doing that, but you know what I mean? It's just really bizarre. But from an asexual point of view, from my point of view, I mean, how can you ever trust someone like that? It's very difficult. I think it's very, very, very difficult, unless you've known the person for a very long time and you really, really trust that they're not interested in sex and that they will be faithful, loving, and loyal to you. I think it's very, very difficult. And I find it with me personally, because I do like to get very intimate with kissing, particularly close up kissing, I find it very, very scary to think about doing that with a heterosexual, and then them thinking I want more. Do you know what I mean? Them not understanding that when I kiss the way I like to kiss is sexual behavior. That's all I enjoy. Like, doesn't matter what body noises I make, doesn't matter what my body moves like. I'm just enjoying the kissing. I don't need to go any further than that. I don't want to go any further than that. I don't need my clothes ripped off. I don't need your hands like all over every single bit of my body. I don't need you to like do anything, have sex. And I'm not interested in that. I'm just interested in the euphoric feeling of the kissing and being close to that person in a committed relationship who I trust, you know? So I just think reflecting on it, I just think it's like really hard for me, this new situation to deal with in my mind. So I really like the guy. One, I don't even know if he wants a relationship because I don't know if that's what he's looking for anyway. I don't think he knows what he wants. So if he doesn't know what he wants, that's fine. He can carry on not knowing what he wants, and I'll carry on looking for an asexual guy. Do you know what I mean? Because I have, there's going to be less hassle with an asexual guy, theoretically, with all the relationship worry and anxiety that I don't need and the stress. But, I do really like this guy. I love spending time with him. I love hanging out with him. It's amazing. I feel so happy when I'm actually with him. It's just all the stress and worry, anxiety over what he's doing when I'm not with him, if I was to be in a relationship with him, It's kind of like, could I ever trust a guy like that who clearly loves sexual stuff? I don't know if I could, to be honest. So anyway, so the future, what does the future look like for me? Well, uncertain in terms of like with this guy, but in terms of like my own certainty, I've still told you I want to focus on my finances more this year and my career, which is really super important to me. I've got beautiful asexual friends that are amazing, and that's really good for me. And I'm going to keep being on, ASAP, asexual dating sites, in case my asexual soulmate decides to turn up. I am a bit. I think it's a bit of a shame this guy's not asexual, if I'm honest, because I see lots of qualities that I really like in him. But, I don't know him. So I'm still going to get to know him. I'm not going to just walk off. But, it's like I really need an asexual guy for me. I don't think he realises what it's like to be asexual and, how difficult it is being asexual in a sexualised world, full of people who want relationships where sex is involved and you're just not interested. It doesn't matter what I do with him, however close I am to him, whatever I'm doing with my body, I won't want sex. It's just not interesting in me. I'm just not interested in it whatsoever. Just like if I'm rubbing bits even with clothes on, it's not going to make me want to go, oh yeah, let's have intercourse now. It's just like not going to do that. I'm not interested in that, just doesn't do anything for me. It's not thrilling, exciting, or anything like that. I think a guy looks better with his clothes on. I've told you that before. I don't see why people don't see the body as a beautiful thing clothed. Most people don't see that. I see it, the body is amazing clothed. I see it as a beautiful silhouette, I love the head and the shoulders. He got really nice arms, actually. Even though he's musty, I quite like his arms. He told me to sit on his lap, like I'm like, I'm heavy, I'm not thin. He's like, it doesn't matter. And that was really nice because he's very strong like that, even though he's a young guy. I do like that. So there's lots of stuff I like about him. I think that's really difficult when you find someone you really like who's the opposite in sexuality to you. Very opposite. It's kind of like, oh, why does it have to be like that? But I don't know if he's like with me, like he is with every other person he meets in his life. If he's really, really friendly just to everyone. I could probably imagine that maybe he's like this with loads of women. He just dances with them like that and does all the other stuff. He's very experienced. And, I hope whatever happens, he finds a really good girl who loves him and cares about him. I care about him a lot, actually. I really do. But I hope whatever happens between me and him and his future, that he finds a real good person who loves him for who he is and he can talk to, like he can talk to me, because I know he can talk to me about anything and everything, even though probably he doesn't realise the extent of that yet. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I just like, the future is uncertain, isn't it? I think for asexuals, it's harder than any sexuality, I think, if I'm honest. I think asexuals loves the purest you can get. And I think really, ideally, you want to be with another asexual person who doesn't give you any worries. You can just relax knowing they're never, ever going to cheat on you. You're never, ever going to go off with anyone else. they're always going to be by your side and love you as much as they can, providing that you still get on and you've got things in common and you still want to be with each other. You know, 'cause some asexuals, they don't stay together, obviously. But I think if you find the right asexual person, the love can just be beautiful, blossom, be really strong. You can feel wonderful together. You can feel like you can feel relief. I think when you meet an asexual person and you fall in love and have a relationship with them, it hasn't happened for me yet, like properly. You know, I've never had a relationship with an asexual. I've never even had a date with an asexual person. I've got asexual friends, but that's different, you know. But I just think that asexual love's the purest, and when you meet the right asexual person, I just think it can be the best type of love in the world, because there's nothing disgusting about it. There's no sex. There's no like need for porn. There's no need for intercourse. There's no need for all that body stuff. You know, when you love another asexual, you love them for their mind, for their beautiful personality, for their warm, kind heart, for their soul. You love them for the things that you have in common with them, for the things that they expand your mind on, you know, the stuff that don't necessarily have in common, but you have different, but you can share that with each other, and you can like share new experiences together and try a bit of things out with each other to see if you like each other's things that you enjoy doing. And you can just like, you know, like you can enjoy cuddling up with a movie, knowing it's never going to lead to sex, and you know, you might have kissing and cuddling, and it'll all be gorgeous and beautiful, and it'll be amazing, and it'll be so much fun, and it'll be so loving and supportive, and you'll just feel amazing on top of the world. You know, I want that feeling. I really do. I want the feeling that I don't have to worry about a sexual guy. I don't have to worry about a person being with me interested in that type of, to me, a load of rubbish. You know, I can just be with a guy who loves me for who I am, who loves my mind, who loves my personality, who loves my hair, who loves my eyes, who loves my smile, who loves my quirky personality more than anything in the world, and who adores me for me, and who sees the beauty in me, and really respects me, and who really cherishes me as a person, who really thinks I'm a beautiful soul, you know? That's more important to me than some guy who likes my body. Do you know what I mean? And who's doesn't know what he wants, and who's like possibly going around doing sexual stuff to loads of women. I don't want that type of guy for me. I deserve better than that. I deserve a guy who's like me, you know? It's so damn hard to get one, you know? Really hard. And I do miss that in-person warmth, you know? This guy, I really like cuddling him. I mean, don't tell him this. I don't know if we'll see this video, but don't tell him this, right? But you know, like in this morning, I even woke up thinking about cuddling him, like in bed. Not that I want sex with him, and I haven't invited him to my bed, and I want separate rooms if I ever go away with him. So I haven't suggested that. Don't get me wrong, but I just started thinking about cuddling him. Like, oh, I wish he was cuddling me in bed now. And I'm like, oh dear, you shouldn't be thinking this. You've only known him 2 like days, and he's sexual. He's not asexual. And then it got me thinking, like, this guy's sexual, not asexual. So how could he even do that with me? You know? And then I kind of got a bit scared then in my mind, thinking, well, he's sexual, Sandra. He's heterosexual. If you cuddle him, it won't be like cuddling an asexual person where you can just relax and chill and be yourself. There's sexual parts near each other, and he'll be thinking, I want to have your sexual parts. Whereas I'll be just wanting to chill, relax, and thinking, I love your personality, I love your cuddle, I love your warmth, and I love your heart. Do you know what I mean? It's completely two different mindsets. The sexual person is like thinking, oh, her body's really close to me. I really want to have sex with her right now. You know, I really want to do that with her. And the asexual will be like, oh, I just love being in his arms. I just love his cuddle and just want to be here all the time, really enjoying the moment. Whereas they're thinking the other stuff. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't go well together. It kind of like rubbing each other up against the wrong way, but not on purpose, you know? I just love a young guy to cuddle in bed that I can trust, you know, that's not going to need sex with me, that's not going to get those urges, that's not going to, you know, like need stuff from me. I don't want a guy like wants to take sexual stuff from me anymore like I've had in the past. I just want, I get a bit tearful now, I just want a guy, you know, to love me for my personality and love me for who I am, not the sexual stuff, you know, sorry. Not the sexual stuff, you know. I think it's horrible that people just associate sex with love. I just think it's really, really bad. I really wish we could just shout at the whole, scream at the whole world, you know. Sex and love are 2 different things. They do not have to go together. You know, you can perfectly have a loving, long, happy, healthy, fulfilling, sustained, committed relationship without sex. And in fact, it's far more beautiful to me than any sexual relationship. I know loads of heterosexuals would disagree, but I don't disagree with me. I 100% agree with me. I think asexual love is the purest because, like I said, when you get older, you've got a disability, you're ill, sick, or whatever, you don't want sex, and your partner wants that. You don't want it, you're not interested in it, and you've got two completely different mindsets. That person's oogling over your private bits, wants to have sex with you, and you're feeling like, don't want this, I just want to be loved. Please just give me some love. I just want to be cuddled. I just want to be held. I just want love from your heart. My heart to yours, my mind to yours, and my spirit to yours. Not all this sexual genital parts that I'm just really not interested in and couldn't give a toss about. Like, you can cut it all off for all I get. I'm not interested in it, That's how I feel about it. And I just feel it's really sad. I'm quite sad for all the people in the world that have that done to them, particularly asexual people who have taken advantage of by people who are sexual, and because they just need the sex, I think it's disgusting, if I'm absolutely honest. It really winds me up. I mean, it's disgusting that loads of asexual people are taken advantage of because people don't understand. They think, oh, you have to have sex to be loved or for you to love them. It's absolute bollocks, excuse my language. It's absolute rubbish and crap, and I'm swearing because I'm really angry, and I just feel really sad for all the people who are taken advantage of, and especially when you're asexual, because people don't get it. They don't get that you can still be completely in love with someone without no need or want or urge for sex whatsoever. And to be honest, I'd say you love that person more than they love you, because you can love them without needing that physical element that they need. You don't need as much from them. It's like, I feel like a sexual person needs more. They want to take more from you. They want to take the sexual parts of you and use them for their own pleasure, if you know what I mean. Whereas an asexual to asexual love, they don't need that. You could just forget all the genital areas and just be, embracing each other and loving each other heart to heart, soul to soul, mind to mind, which is far more important than the body in that way. I don't even like nudity in sculptures. I don't like it in paintings. I don't like it in TV. I don't like it in films. I don't watch films with nudity as a general rule. Don't watch TV. What's the point? There's all nudity. It's disgusting anyway. I don't need that in my life. I'm not interested. I don't like it when guys like porn stuff on Facebook. It's like, can't you just see these women are just like using you? They're using their bodies. Well, some of them obviously, like do for whatever reason, but a lot of these porn pages, it's not difficult, is it? It's not an intelligent thing to just get your kit off. There's no intelligence there. Why don't you love someone intelligently and spiritually? Why don't you love their heart and their mind? Why do you love their bits? It's not a difficult thing to do. It's just like, so many women could do it. Like, I could do it if I wanted to, but I don't want to, It's just like, I don't know. And I just think it's so sad that I feel that sexuals need a lot more from us, Obviously, if I'm looking at a balanced point of view, then I could say, well, yeah, they are who they are. We are who we are. We can't change. We've both got different needs, right? That's looking at a logical. But now, tonight, I'm talking with emotion from my heart, that it makes me sick. The thought that, like, I can't be, for example, in bed with a heterosexual because he'll want different things. He'll be thinking about different things. He won't be, thinking about, I love her and I want to feel close to her, to cuddle her. He'll be thinking, like, I want to put my hands around her chest to feel her breasts. That's what he'll actually be thinking, because this is what it's like. Because obviously I've been with heterosexuals half of my life and I didn't want to be with them ever again. It's like, oh, let me put my arms around her so I can feel her breasts. Let me, like, I'm thinking of the cuddle, feeling warm and close to the guy because I just love him and care about him and want to be with him. He's thinking about oogling my breasts. It's like, I'm not interested, mate. Do one, Whereas if you get an asexual guy, they'll be hugging you because they want to feel your warmth. They want to feel you because they care about you as their bestest friend, the love of your life. They care about you because you're both like, I don't know, you're both like kind and caring, and you're both like, you know, you're both into superhero movies or whatever, and you're both into like kiddie stuff. That's what I really need, really. So into superhero movies and kid stuff. And someone who's, you know, like not sexual really, because it just scares the life out of me, you know, being close to someone like that. It's like, how can I get close to someone like that? Well, you probably just want sex from me, to be perfectly honest with you. However nice they coat it, however nice they seem, at the end of the day, sex, isn't it? The world's ruled by sex. That's pretty disgusting. You know, I was thinking tonight, no one's actually born heterosexual. It's a complete fallacy. Their sexuality isn't even determined by them until they're growing up. Do you know what I mean? Through their years. You know, some people discover their sexuality at 12 or whatever. Some people discover it at 13. Some people discover it later on. But, you know, people don't usually pop out the womb going, hey, I'm lesbian. People don't usually pop out the womb going, hey, I'm heterosexual. People just usually pop out the womb, and then as time goes by, life happens and they feel the way they do. And sometimes they feel bad because they feel like, oh, I'm told by society I should be heterosexual, but I'm not. Like, I should hate myself. How can I be this way? No one will understand me. Feel lonely, left out, and in pain all their life. You know? When really it's just bloody society, you know? Doesn't mean to say that heterosexual is even the right sexuality to be in this world, the majority of. Just because it's majority doesn't mean to say it's the one it should actually be. You know, people think, oh, it's a majority, so that means you should be like it. No, it doesn't mean to say you should be like it. Just because in the minority, did I say majority? Yeah, heterosexuals are in the majority. Yeah, so just because heterosexuals are in the majority doesn't mean to say that's the sexuality to be. And just because we're in the minority as asexuals doesn't mean to say it's a wrong sexuality to be. To me, like, most people probably pop out the womb as an asexual person, as in they're not thinking about doing sexual activities when they just popped out the womb, and they're probably not getting sexual urges right away. But on Cura, is it? I was reading about women breastfeeding the other day because I was looking through other stuff, and it was like, oh yeah, women get orgasms of breastfeeding their kid. That's why some of them do it to, like, their kids like 3 or 4 years old. And I'm just like, oh, I want to throw up now. I want to throw up. I thought, really? So as a kid getting off on sucking the mother's breast, and really they're sexual from a very young age then. That's how they're majority of them are heterosexual, is it? I like, you know, to me, I don't like breastfeeding. I don't like pregnancy. I don't like all that stuff either. But there you go, thousands upon millions and millions of people would totally disagree with me there. You know, but when I saw like this woman's being honest and going, oh yeah, I sometimes had like 10 orgasms a day when my baby was sucking my breast, and they're like, oh yeah, that's why it's nice if their baby's like 3 and 4 years old sucking their breast or breastfeeding, because it feels so good, because you just get multiple orgasms a day. And I was like, ugh, like, you know, so basically you're getting sexual pleasure out of your baby. It's just, to me, it's probably true. I mean, she was telling the truth. I didn't know that because, one, I don't want a baby, and if I did, I wouldn't want it sucking my breast anyway. And it's like, you know what I mean? Because for me, I do think that's something like that, in the sense that I didn't think about orgasm as such. I just thought, well, surely the mother's getting some like sexual pleasure out of that in a way. You know what I mean? It's all gross to me because I'm not interested in any of it. But yeah, anyway, I just feel sorry for all the asexuals that have been through pain and hardship, and I'm really sorry for everyone who's had to endure sexual relationships in some way that's quite torturous sometimes to the soul, I think, because, you know, you're not loved truly for who you are, I don't believe. I think that's sad. And I think it's sad when you do come across heterosexuals that have got disabilities themselves, have got special needs and stuff, and you're like thinking, well, I accept you for who you are, but you still don't accept me for who I am, not really, because you don't understand me. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's quite difficult. Yeah. Anyway, I think I've been talking enough now. I love you all dearly. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you so much to Heather. Thank you to Jack. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in tonight. Thank you for the thumbs up. If you want to give this video a thumbs up, because you've had some insight and some useful, helpful information. You've never thought that people aren't born heterosexual before. You know, I might actually make a video clarifying this. Nice video title. Did you know you're not born heterosexual? I think that would probably shock some people, wouldn't it? Because, yeah, to me, it's like you're not born heterosexual, you're made heterosexual. Because we're all conditioned. From the moment we pop out the womb, we're conditioned to believe we're heterosexual, to believe we should go to a 9 to 5 job, to believe this, that, and the other, to believe whatever your parents say should be like the best, the best thing for you. Like regardless of what they say is good or bad to you, we're all conditioned since we popped out. Do you know what I mean? It's just one conditioned world. But the good thing is as you get older or younger, as the case might be, birth certificate age, older in birth certificate age, younger in birth certificate age, older in birth certificate age, younger in your mind. As you get to experience this life more, you have to know that you have a choice when you're older. You can choose how to live your life, and you can choose to uncondition yourself from all that conditioning you've gone through for years, and you can choose a different way and life and path. And that is a huge blessing. And I hope whatever you do in your life, whatever path you choose, that it treats you well and you get everything that you want, including the love that you totally deserve in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, and in your body too. That's good for you. Anyway, lots of love. Night night. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. And I will see you on the next live stream. Until next time, embrace your quirky and each other's. And I will see you soon. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye. Love you all. Bye. Bye.